These days, the term that gets thrown around, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out is bollocks. What I'm more concerned about is a new phrase that I'm about to coin right here, right now. It's called FOMP. It's called fear of missing potential. Because if you don't challenge yourself, if you're not growing as a person, how are you supposed to know what your potential is? And if you don't try new things, how are you supposed to know if you're not good at something else? Hello everybody and welcome to Running from Comfort. This is episode 7, but it's a very special episode because this is the first edition of the solo show. What is a solo show, you ask? Well, if you're not familiar with my show already, Running from Comfort is where I've been interviewing guests who live purpose-driven lives. I've been trying to explore the importance of them pursuing their passion in their lives as a means for us to try and understand why pursuing our passions is so important and why more of us should make an effort to do so. So for today's show, I just thought I would explain in a bit more detail why I decided to start this show in the first place, because I think it's really going to explain some of my own ideas and my own beliefs, and it's going to help you guys understand a bit better my mission statement. Now, I did an episode on my mission statement. You can check that one out as well, but I might go over some of those things again because I want to make this like a fresh start of me explaining what my purpose is with this podcast. So here we go. The reason I decided to start a podcast was it all began after I moved out of home. When I moved out of home, I had to go get a job in Melbourne. It's a big city. I had to move here at the drop of a hat when I got offered an opportunity, and I just had to learn on the fly. And life kind of kicked my ass in my first year living here. I'm not going to lie. It really did. But I've been working my way back up. I've been working towards my goals. And I've decided now that I want to do this podcast because I had to learn from other people how to better develop myself as a person so that I could survive this big bad world, because, it's a tough world to live in. But it's also the best time to be alive. And it's funny I say that because in the Western world, we have everything so easy, so comfortable, right? But nobody seems to be happy. Nobody seems to be satisfied. Most people hate their job. The statistic is like over 70%, but I guarantee if you ask most people, they either hate their job or they at least dislike it or they don't find it engaging. And that's a very sad fact given that you'll spend a majority of your adult life working. And then I started to realize something. When I was looking around, we have this great thing called the internet and our smartphones, these devices. And I started to realize that there are a lot of people who are actively pursuing their passion. And they're not just pursuing their passion. They're doing it and making their living whilst they do it. And I started to think, what's going on here? Because, when you go to school, for the most part, you're not taught to do what you love. You're not taught to pursue your passions. To a degree, they might push you in some certain directions. But for the most part, what you're taught in school is unless you're somehow 10 times more fantastic than everybody else, what you best do is get the best grades, to go get a degree, to get the best paying job that you can, so that you can live your life to earn a lot of money and buy lots of stuff. And there's a problem with that. And I think that the glaring problem with that is a reflection of the mental health crisis that we have in the Western world. And that is the fact that people are living lives that are void of purpose and meaning. Because a lot of people are just working those soul-sucking jobs that they hate. But you know what? I don't want to crap on about jobs too bad, because let me be real about another fact. Jobs are a great thing. The fact that we can earn an income and live comfortable lives, that is fantastic. And to start this, I want to say we should be grateful that we have that opportunity in our lives. Now, that's not a bad thing. Most people in human history, they just had to eat shit and die, basically. Our grandparents or their parents or, other generations, they had to work very, very hard. They had very little choice or say in what they got to do. And honestly, we have a lot of free time. If you're working 9 to 5, you're working 38 to 40 hours a week, you still have so much time on your hands to go out and pursue other things that might give your life meaning. So there's some food for thought. Okay, I know a lot of us hate our jobs, but first and foremost, be grateful for the fact that you're not on the street starving. Okay? Now let me continue on. Because of this incredible time that we're living in now, there really is the opportunity that anybody can pursue something that they're passionate about. And the other old lie is that the only successful people are people that, had something handed down to them, or they started off, with some advantage that you never had. And guess what? That is true, but only at a very minor level. The reality of the situation is a lot of people that make it, or, quote unquote, make it, or a lot of people that start their own businesses doing something that they love, that are successful, a lot of those people grinded from the dirt. And that's how they got to where they were. Because as humans, we're designed to adapt and change to our environments, okay? It's a fundamental part of us. And seriously, this manifests itself in the gym. So, little sidetrack / ramble here. If you walk into a gym and you've never picked up weights before, or you've had very little experience lifting weights, you can just go in and throw some weights around, not really worry about your nutrition too much. But if you're just throwing your weights around and you challenge yourself a bit and you get a bit of muscle soreness, you're going to get some muscle growth, because your muscles have to respond to what you're doing to it. It says, oh, what's this? I've never been activated like this before. Oh, I've got to grow. And they call that beginner gains. So people can literally just throw weights around, not care about their nutrition too much, but the fact that they're putting that stress on their muscles have to grow. Now, eventually over time, for continued consistent results in the gym, you'll have to adopt probably a more structured routine and a better eating plan. But at the beginning, the shock is so much of the body, as I've said it for the third time now, it has to grow. It's exactly the same with life. When you go through stress, when you go through hard times, when you go through struggles, how you handle that is going to determine how you grow as a person. And a lot of the time, the most challenging and the most difficult circumstances are the ones that force serious growth and development. And it's through growth and development that people form the habits, or they form the work ethic necessary to become successful in whatever field it is that they want to be successful in. So people that have it easy, the people who grow up with the rich parents that hand them everything, I'd actually say to a degree they're at a disadvantage, because if you don't have a lot of struggle, if you don't have, that adversity to fall back on, and your parents have just handed you everything, you don't know how the world operates. You don't know how to operate in the world. And Jordan Peterson talks about this as well. He talks about this growth aspect in the sense that anytime that we come across new circumstances, a new environment, or something along those lines, new neuropaths unlock in our brain, which means that we actually unlock more new potential when we try new things, or when we venture in the unknown, or we have to wrestle with things that we're not used to. We are made to adapt to change, okay? Our bodies change to our environment. Our minds change to our environment. So, adversity is a good thing, but we live in a world where there isn't a lot of adversity. And because of that, people aren't challenged. And when you're not challenged, you don't get to know yourself, because when you're challenged, okay, anytime you come up with any form of a challenge, something that requires you to go above and beyond yourself, that's when you find out what you're made of. That's when you get to really know who you are. So a lot of people don't get to discover themselves. As well as that, if you don't try new things, let's just say you have a mundane routine and you're just doing the same things constantly over and over again, and you're slowly falling into a rut. If you're not going out there trying new things, you're limiting your potential just on that basis. So, these days, the term that gets thrown around, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. You open your phone, you see your friends are at a party, you see your other friends are at this gig, or these people are at the nightclub, or it's fear of missing out on the good things in life. You're scrolling through Instagram and you see all these models living these fantastic lives where they're just constantly on vacation, and you think, oh, if only that could be me. Fear of missing out is bollocks. In reality, you're not missing out on anything, okay? Everybody has their own life experience. What I'm more concerned about is a new phrase that I'm about to coin right here, right now. It's called FOMP. It's called fear of missing potential. Because if you don't challenge yourself, if you're not growing as a person, how are you supposed to know what your potential is? And if you don't try new things, how are you supposed to know if you're not good at something else? We've got guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, who's constantly on his Instagram yelling at people, gratitude, thankfulness, blah, blah, blah. But something else he always says is try heaps of shit and find out what you're good at. Because your own perspective is likely limiting you. See, part of the reason why I want to start this podcast is because I see a world of limited perspective. I see a world where everybody puts themselves in these boxes. They limit themselves. They limit what they believe they can do. They limit what they believe they can achieve. And part of that is because they don't know any better. So that's why I wanted to make the podcast, because by talking to other people, people can then relate to these people. And, they might be able to relate to something in their story and say, he's kind of just like me. He's not really any different to me. See, the key difference is these people have found something that they love and they've just gone at it. It's just hard work, dedication, grit and grind. Honestly, at the end of the day, that's all it is. Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. Okay? What does that mean? You can be talented and gifted at something, but you might not ever get anywhere in life because you won't work hard. And sometimes the people that aren't so talented end up being the ones who win because they outwork other people. They outwork the other people that they're competing against. So what I'm really trying to say, and the point of all this is, there is limitless potential as to what you can achieve in this life. And there are so many people that can be an example of that. So many. And you don't know your own potential. I don't know my own potential. Most people don't know their own potential. David Goggins, in his book, he theorizes that people only use up about 40% of their potential. Who knows how much of our potential we're really using? If we're just doing the same things over and over again, if we're not getting out of our comfort zone, if we're not challenging ourselves, how do we know what our potential is? If we're not trying new things, how do we know we're not good at other things? How do you know you're not a good basketball player? How do you know you're not a good musician? How do you know that you couldn't be a lawyer or something along those lines if you never tried? So, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage people to think about things that they like. Think about things that you're passionate about. Now, there's a difference between like and passion, but if you like something, try it out. And then if you become obsessed with it, that probably tells me you're going to be passionate about it. And when you find what your passion is, find a way to pursue it. Because in this day and age, you can literally make money doing almost anything on the internet. I'm not trying to be a guru, trying to sell you your dream life. And I also want to be realistic with you all. Not everybody can be famous and movie stars and extremely rich. But all of us can be successful, and I really honestly believe we can all be successful doing something that we love, okay? All the resources you need are there. You just have to go out there and do it. But I also think part of it is the importance of actually growing and working into things such as personal development so that you can build habits that will sustain you. Because one of the most important things about personal development is building habits that will not just set you up for success, but also realizing what habits you may have that could be taking away from your potential future success. So personal development isn't just about becoming a kick-ass dude that wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and gets his workout in every single day. It's also about having the self-awareness to realize what things in your life do not serve you. What relationships are bad for you, whether it be friends, family, it could even be your own partner. You have to realize things that are taking away from your life and limiting your potential. And you need to surround yourself with good and positivity. I really believe that is a great thing. And if you don't have good and positive people in your life, find some. Find people that will support you. So now I just want to go on a little side ramble here just to close this video out and tell a little bit of a story about what happened with me the other day. And this is a little bit of a story about, pushing your perceived mental limits, because when you push your perceived limits, you challenge yourself. And when you challenge yourself, you get to see what you're made of and you get to grow. So one of the reasons why I love the gym is because you go in there and you put the hard work in, and if you're consistent, you will get results. If you put in the hard work, if you have some form of structure as to what you're doing, whether you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, get strength, whatever it is, as long as you have a structure in place there and you follow that and you work hard and you grit and grind, you will see results, you will see change, you will see growth, okay? That's a guarantee. And the other funny thing about the gym is all the principles that you need to apply to be successful in the gym, whether it be building your dream physique, right? Something like that. All the same principles you apply, the discipline, the hard work, the consistency. They're the same things that apply in almost every single area of your life when you're trying to be successful at something. So the gym's also a great learning ground where you can start to test yourself and, develop some of these mindsets that can set you up for later success in a different area in life. So, getting back to it all, at the gym, it was Tuesday last week and I was feeling awfully ill, and I said, I just don't think I can go to the gym today. But the other thing is I'm currently doing a program where I'm trying to cut. I'm working with a trainer, and I've been consistent all the way up until this point. And I said, no, I'm not going to let that get the better of me. I'll go do the weights, but I'm not going to do the cardio. So I'm in my workout. I go there. I struggle through this session doing the weights, man. Like, I'm telling you, it was taking the life out of me. I was ready to go home and cook my dinner. I felt exhausted. I felt fatigued. And like I said before, I was feeling quite sick too, so I really wasn't up to it. And as I'm about to walk out the gym, I'm like, no, you've been consistent all this time. Let's get some cardio in. Let's just do something, because something that if you don't already know, you're going to learn is that something is always better than nothing. So I said, let's just go do 200 calories of cardio. So what my trainer's got me doing at the moment is 500 calories of machine cardio every day. It's a little bit extreme. Let's just say it is working. But I said, let's just get 200. It's better something than nothing. So I get on this machine and I start going for it. And I always listen to good music when I do cardio. And the music is just like performance enhancers. It just lets you go for as long as you need to, as long as you want to, provided, it's good songs that you like. And all of a sudden, I know what the next 5 songs in my playlist are. I'm like, I'm not looking down until all 5 of these songs are done. And I was just going as hard as I could. It's like once I got on the machine, something took over me and it overpowered me. It was just like, we're getting this freaking cardio done whether you like it or not. So I was like, all right, I'm sticking it out. I'm going to do the 500. The next thing you know, I end up doing 700 calories cardio, which in one go, which is, okay, it's not extreme, but just given the circumstances, given what I'm doing, that's more than what I'm used to doing. And also, I was in a state where I just felt so sick and so fatigued. But I left that workout feeling better, and the next day I even felt better. And what it really showed me was I put this limiting belief in myself that I couldn't do the cardio today. And something about my nature, which I'll talk about in a later episode or a video on my YouTube channel, is that inherently by nature, I tend to be lazy. So I have to battle against my own laziness a lot. And what I see that is, the lazy part of me was trying to trick me and tell me that I couldn't do it. And honestly, I really didn't feel like I could do it. But all I had to do was go get on that machine and take the first step. And once I took the first step, it was just like, boom, we're going. And that's when the other part of me woke up. And that part of me is the one that's trying to go out there and trying to achieve goals. And he said, oh boy, you thought you weren't going to do any cardio? No, you're getting your 500 in. The important thing was I took the first step. I realized that I could do the cardio, and then I did more than what I needed to. And that's the same with anything that you want to do in life, all right? You're going to tell yourself a lot of the time that you can't do it. That's part of limited perspective. That's part of your own limiting beliefs yourself. You're going to talk yourself out of doing all the things you want to do in life. Anytime something scares you, you're likely going to be able to find a way to talk yourself out of it. You have to understand, though, you can do it. You just have to take the first step. And once you take the first step, you take another one. And you keep stumbling in that direction until eventually you find a rhythm. Because like my first 5 minutes on that machine, I still felt exhausted and sick. But I kept moving my feet forward, telling myself I'll just get the 200, until eventually, by the time I hit the 200, I was in a rhythm. I was on the go. I was going full speed. And I absolutely smashed my cardio. I obliterated it. And I would have never thought I would have had it in me that day, but I did. So I want to encourage anybody listening today that if there's something that you want to take action on, if there's some idea, if there's some goal, whatever it is, the first thing I want to say is don't wait. Doesn't matter. You're listening to a podcast right now. Okay? You're listening to a podcast right now, which means that there is something that you could do to work towards your goal. You know, if it's weight loss, it could be as simple as going outside and going for a walk. You might look up a meal that you might prep tomorrow that you can make for the week that will help you lose weight. If you want to get into a different field or a different industry, you can go on Google right now and start seeing, what can I do to get into this field? What can I do to get into this industry? What skills do I need to teach myself? Etc., etc., etc. And when you take the first step, you take another step. And don't be intimidated by the fact that the end goal is so far away. Because here's another fundamental truth. The end goal does not matter. It doesn't. Getting to a certain goal, getting to a certain point, it won't satisfy you. It won't make you happy. Enjoying the process will. So the idea is you keep stumbling around until you catch that momentum. And when you catch that momentum, you know you found something and you run with it. And I suppose that's what running from comfort is all about. Oh, right. I think we're going to wrap this one up here. So, if you haven't already, check out my YouTube channel, Galloway's Take. I release vlogs on there as well as my podcast episodes. Check out my Instagram page at Galloways_take. And if you listened to today's show and you enjoyed, make sure you take a screenshot of you listening on your smartphone, upload it to your Instagram story, and tag me and let me know what you thought about today's episode. Whatever device you're listening to this on, whether it be Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, whatever, give me a rating and a review. Please, it will mean the world to me. If you give me a rating and review, then maybe my show might get better in the future because I'll know if it's any good. All right. One day I'll be able to offer you guys something for a rating and reviews. But anyways, I'm going to conclude today's show there, guys. This has been the first edition of the Solo Show. I'm out of here. Go out and do something awesome today. Bye, guys.